The Yoshinobu Yamamoto Sweepstakes is in full swing. We're going to discuss the courting of the Japanese star and why the Cardinals never really stood a chance at getting him. That and more on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. You can follow me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. On YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. That way you're interacting with us. Hit the notification button so you know when new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans of baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. So the MLB winter meetings are done, and perhaps you didn't even realize they had begun because, especially if you're a Cardinals fan, because not a lot happened. You know, nothing really happened for the Redbirds at all. We heard from Mo, we heard from Ali, we found out that all of the rumors about Yadi coming back and joining the coaching staff or just the organization in some way, shape, or form were all true. And they officially made that announcement, gave him a title, announced his role with the team, and that's all fine and dandy. But as far as making any moves on the roster, which is the exciting part, at least it was supposed to be the exciting part of the winter meetings, nada. You know, they selected Ryan Fernandez in the Rule 5 draft, but haven't actually made a transaction since November the 28th. We are here now on December the 8th. And the 28th was the last time they actually made a move where they signed 18-year-old relief pitcher Michael Correa to a minor league deal. And then the day before that was the Sonny Gray announcement. This is the time of year for gifts and presents. Last night was the first day of Hanukkah. And the Cardinals were like the kids who can't wait until Christmas Day to open up gifts. Can we open one the night before? Which I never understood that tradition. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. But they opened up a bunch of their gifts the night before Christmas. And then Christmas Day is a big letdown. We had all this buildup about who was going where and how all of this money was going to be thrown around the league. And none of it really happened. And the Cardinals, perhaps realizing that it wasn't in their best interest to wait, just dove in and went right after the guys that they wanted and could afford. And now they're kind of relaxed a little bit as the market figures itself out. We're supposed to get an Ohtani decision any day now, which is going to kind of kickstart things a little bit. But the biggest move at the winter meetings was the Juan Soto trade to the Yankees late on Wednesday. And that was obviously huge. Timing of it was brutal. Happened late at night when just about everyone except for the people on the West Coast were already done for the night, although yours truly, I stayed up until 2 a.m. to bust a thing for you, get an episode out there for you. I watched the Blues game, and then I stayed up and knocked one out for you because I'm a gamer. It's what I do. Going to the Blues game tonight, by the way. Now this move, the Juan Soto move, significant in a lot of ways because now that it's done, many believe the Yankees will be turning their attention to Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And reports are that the Yankees will meet with him on Monday, while the Mets, who many believe are the biggest competition for the Yankees to get him, have already met with him in person. Sources said that their owner, Steve Cohen, and president of baseball operations, David Stearns, actually flew to Japan last week to meet with Yamamoto. MLB insider John Morosi has said that the Dodgers, Red Sox, and Giants are considered the other possible top candidates against the two New York teams. Will Salmon at The Athletic agrees, but also has the Blue Jays, and then two unidentified clubs on the list. And if I had to bet on who it was going to be as the two other unidentified guys, I'd probably say, give me the Cubs and maybe somebody like the Phillies, somebody with huge payrolls who want to make a splash. That's just a guess. I have no idea. But just a couple of days ago, John Heyman mentioned a long list of teams connected to them to to the Yamamoto camp. And in that list, the St. Louis Cardinals were still on that list. He mentioned them by name. This is also the same story in the New York Post that said that the signing of Yamamoto is becoming so competitive that his contract may reach the $300 million mark. Now, I hate to burst anybody's bubbles. I really hate doing it. And as sweet as that was of John Heyman to put the Cardinals' name in his article, they are not forking over $300 million for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. And I get that, he's 25 and one of the greatest pitching prospects to come over from Japan. And it's been fun to discuss his friendship with Lars Nootbaar and what a grab it would be for the franchise and this team to get a bona fide superstar, someone they could sell to not only Cardinal fans, but nationally and internationally. A lot of money to be made there. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll continue to say this. Even if the Cardinals decide, okay, let's go out and try this. Let's start throwing some money around and try to get him. Do you really think that the Yankees or the Mets are going to lose out on this bidding war? That they're just going to say, Cardinals got us. Do you think that's something that is actually going to happen? I don't. They are going to give him whatever it takes to sign in New York. I would assume it will eventually just come down to which franchise he wants to play for more, because money-wise, they will probably just continue to bid against each other. And if he's smart, he should just keep letting them do it until both teams are just like, okay, really? We're up here now? What are we doing? But why not? Take him for every dime. I don't blame Yamamoto for getting as much as he can for as long as he can. Go get the biggest contract that you can possibly get from him. Do it. The Cardinals, because we got to come back to them about this. It's just they're not going to win in a situation like that. They don't have any interest in getting into a bidding war with those type of sharks, at least not this year, when they already had to fill 3 rotation spots. Still need to address the bullpen some more. And I know it stinks. I know it stinks that the richest teams get the biggest fish in situations like this. It sucks. But this is the reality of what goes on in Major League Baseball. One of the great things about the NFL is the parity, right? Where everybody's got a cap and you all have to figure out how to fit your star players and find other smaller pieces to make your team great to win. It's why things shuffle around a lot. Doesn't always mean that a different person will win the Super Bowl, because we've seen the Chiefs' dominance recently. You had the Patriots for all those years, but it gives your team more hope because you're not worried about another team being able to spend so much more money than you are. And it's not the case in Major League Baseball. The Cardinals, they've got to win free agents over the same way that they got Sonny Gray into town. They got to win by, the culture that they have, the winning history, a respect for the fan base, a respect for the Cardinal way. Things like that have to be of interest to these free agents, especially when the Cardinals aren't winning, coming off a really bad year. And I'm sorry, but someone from Japan probably doesn't care about all that stuff when they first come over. It might be something that appeals to them later on, but right now, it's pretty low on the totem pole. Heck, they may not have even ever heard of St. Louis, Missouri. Do you think somebody over in Japan can point out St. Louis, Missouri on a map? But they know LA, they know New York, and those places are wiping their butts and blowing their noses with $100 bills. I mean, just look at what the Yankees have done recently. The Yankees already gave Garrett Cole 9 years, $324 million. They trade for Juan Soto, whom they'll try to re-sign. Again, he turned down a 15-year, $400+ million deal from Washington. They paid Aaron Judge 9 years, $360, which is it's going to take something similar, probably more than that, to sign Soto, just because of escalation of cost of doing business. And he was 25. Then if Yamamoto gets, let's say, 7 years, $300 million, I mean, my goodness, they're already paying Stanton $32 million, Rodon $27. It's wild stuff, man. It's wild stuff. It's a ton of money, but it's the Yankees, and they can do it if they want to. They will likely hit and blast past that $300 million payroll this year, just like the Mets did last year. And if this all works out the way they want to, they're going to get all these guys. And they won't even bat an eye at spending that much money. Where the Cardinals are like, we're creeping toward 200 million. Might need to pump the brakes a little bit. And the Mets, the other New York team, they've got no limits on spending either. They tried to buy a championship this past year and spent a record amount, and it blew up in their face. They only had 4 more wins than the Cardinals. Now they do have Kodai Senga in their corner to try and recruit Yamamoto, but if I had to put my money on someone, I'm saying the Yankees. Probably the franchise, if you're coming over from Japan, wouldn't you want to play for them? If you had all these guys bidding, wouldn't it be the Yankees? I would think so. The Yankees are also reportedly interested in a former Cardinal on top of being interested in Yamamoto. So we'll get into that and other rumors around the league next on Locked On Cardinals. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Now, if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app, very easy to use. They've got a wide range of betting options that you can get in on. Spreads are an easy one. Player props, ton of fun there. Over-unders and a whole lot more. You had the Steelers and what a game last night, right? The Steelers and Mitchell Trubisky under center, losing at home on Thursday night to the Patriots and Billy Zappi. Who wasn't excited about that matchup? So many quarterback injuries lately, man. It's been a tough year for quarterbacks in the NFL. One of the games this week impacted by this, Jags at Cleveland. Totally different story. Trevor Lawrence got hurt on Monday night against the Bengals. So Deshaun Watson out for the year. So now you got CJ Beathard against Joe Flacco. Like, what? Bills at Chiefs should be a great one this weekend. Chiefs favored by 1.5 so far, despite their loss in Green Bay against my Packers. I like the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs. The Bills just haven't really been the same team this year. It's been an odd year for the Buffalo Bills. So give me the Chiefs in that one. Cowboys are at home against the Eagles, another massive game in the NFC. Prop bets galore. Would I be signing up on that one? So visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn. Kick off the NFL season with FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every single league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Comments, leave them on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you want. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. We're going to get to some of the feedback from you guys in segment 3 today. But let's continue down the list here of what's kind of going on around the league and how it affects the Cardinals. Because whenever this Yamamoto stuff is done and the Ohtani stuff, which apparently a decision could be imminent, could be happening today on Friday, the rest of the market will start to move a little bit more, including the relief pitchers. We've seen a couple of them signed already. Craig Kimbrell went to the Orioles. Emilio Pagan to the Reds. Reynaldo Lopez to the Braves. Another Lopez signed last night. Jorge Lopez went to the Mets. But we haven't heard too much about former Cardinal Jordan Hicks, at least not yet. Apparently the Yankees do have some interest in him as well. They're not the only ones, though. Hicks also has the Astros, Rangers, and Angels reportedly chasing after him. He's a Texas guy, so it really does make sense that he end up with either the Astros or the Rangers. Why would anyone go to the Angels right now? Unless you're going there strictly for the paycheck and a chance to hang out with Mike Trout, who seems like a great guy. But going to the Angels right now, why would you want to go there? It's beyond me because they ain't winning anything with the club they got going on right now. That's why Ohtani's not coming back. I know fans wish they could get Jordan back. I know. I would love to see Jordan Hicks back. It seemed he kind of found his niche and came into his own last year. And right when it happens, got to ship him out and send him to Toronto, where he pitched very, very well. He was lights out in Toronto last year, but I don't think the Cardinals personally are going to match the closer money that that Hicks is likely to receive from some of these other teams, because that's where he is at this moment. He's probably going to get closer type of money, and I don't think the Cardinals are willing to throw that kind of cash around to because they still got a couple of places that they got to tighten up. They're in the bullpen, so they got to spread the money out to a couple of spots there. I'm still hopeful on the Phil Maton signing, which I guess a rumor was swirling that the team and him were close to signing. Not sure where that started, but let me just say this to you guys, that if it's not like Derek Gould or Katie Wu, John Denton, a number of the local guys that that we're familiar with, or when it comes to national people like Ken Rosenthal or Jeff Passan and all these other guys, John Heyman, although if it isn't those guys reporting on this, it's probably not true. So just kind of be aware of that. Doesn't mean these other people are lying. Maybe they have some sources that have some insider information. It's just that sometimes people jump the gun on these things because they're eager to be the first person to report on it. I mean, speaking of Heyman, arson judge to the Giants last year is a great example. That was a big that blew everything up, and everybody's like, "What the?" Now it's an ongoing joke with John Heyman. So just kind of be aware about stuff like that. How about another Cardinal, Harrison Bader? Apparently, the Padres and Giants active in the center field market and have interest in Harrison. They're also interested in another international free agent, outfielder Jung-Hoo Lee, who hit a mere 340 for his career in Korea. No big deal. Also a 5-time KBO Gold Glove winner. And now that Soto and Trent Grisham are in New York from that trade, it makes sense that the Padres would try to fill the outfield spots they left behind. And the Giants continue to try to find just any kind of star player to please come play for them. I kind of feel bad for the Giants. They got money, and just they can't seem to land anybody. I mean, obviously this will change, but remember, what was it? Conforto was the big signing for them after Aaron Judge went back to the Yankees. Like, they just cannot seem to get a superstar. The Carlos Correa stuff blew up in their face too. Like, it's been tough for the Giants. Harrison Bader, great defender, not the offensive guy that Lee is, so whomever gets him could scoop up Darth Bader instead. Kevin Kiermaier out there in the center field market as well. But I think Bader would look cool in San Diego. Just about everybody, I think, looks cool in San Diego. That's just looks like a fun place to play, even though last year was tough for them. But it'll look much better him in San Diego than in, he could be playing for Schilt in San Diego, but better than him in that Reds uniform from last year. Ugh, that was nasty business. I didn't like that. Speaking of the Reds, they signed infielder Jeimer Candelario to a 3-year, $45 million deal, which, it had a lot of us at the Locked On Network kind of confused and scratching our heads, because one of the things that the Reds apparently have a problem with right now is that they've got an abundance of infielders already. So either someone is getting moved to other positions or someone is getting moved to another team, and the two guys that they may be attempting to make a move for are two guys that fans would love to see the Cardinals land, and that would be Dylan Cease and Tyler Glasnow. The Reds are trying to acquire some pitching. They've got Nick Martinez in the fold, but that's, not huge news. John Morosi says the Reds have talked to the Rays about Glasnow. The Dodgers, Cubs, and Braves have also reportedly shown interest in him. Now, we've gone over, trade ideas for both pitchers as far as what it would take for the Cardinals to try to get them. So we won't do that again. But with the Reds signing Candelario, could that mean that Jonathan India, one of their top prospects, Noelvi Marte, Christian Encarnacion Strand, or some others could be on the way out? Is that what's going to happen? The India rumors have been circling since last year, but their GM, Nick Krall, recently said they weren't actively trying to move Jonathan India. But something is brewing in Cincinnati, so just keep an eye on them as they try to figure out a way to get a big-time pitcher into Cincinnati. But, man, that would be a kick in the beanbag, wouldn't it, if the Reds or the Cubs were able to get one of those guys instead of the Cardinals? The Cubs, they've been eerily silent so far. They've had an interest in Ohtani and Yamamoto. There's another Japanese pitcher we've talked about, Shota Imanaga, is apparently on their radar. We know they want Bellinger back. They've been linked to former Phillies first baseman Rhys Hoskins, which I think makes a ton of sense for them. That feels like a Cub type of guy. They've also shown some interest in free agent third baseman Matt Chapman. The Cubs are going to do something eventually. It'll happen, but like most teams are kind of waiting on the Ohtani, Yamamoto stuff to drop first. I keep looking at my phone because we're like I said, Ohtani stuff could be imminent, but so far I'm not seeing anything. Not just yet. But that's what's really going to get this market moving in the right direction. So coming up next, we're going to hear from you. I've got listener comments and questions. We got to get through some stuff. Some people are pretty happy with what the Cardinals have done so far. Some people are not. Some people want more. I'm one of them. I wish they could do more as well. So we're going to jump into some of your fan feedback next on Locked On Cardinals. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day and the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. You can go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. After you're done here, after you click like and subscribe if you don't already, jump over there and they'll keep you covered on everything else all over the entire world of sports. So here we talk Cardinals, we talk baseball, but you can go NBA, NHL, you can go NFL. There, we've got it all for you here at the Locked On Network. So it's been a bit since we did some comments and questions because we've had a lot going on. So let's start with the Yachty stuff since it's kind of the freshest news pertaining to the Cardinals. And most of it, happy stuff, right? Happy feedback about Yadier Molina. Irene K says, so excited to have Yadi back. No matter his title, we will take whatever we can get. Maybe things are starting to look up. Love my Cardinals. Atta girl. The Dutchman, not the Flying Dutchman from Pirates of the Caribbean, but just the Dutchman. Yadi is the perfect fit, especially if he spends a lot of time during spring training. He can help pitchers, catchers, and the middle infielders. He can't help outfielders is what you're saying? Are you saying he has no idea what the outfielders? I'm just kidding. Yeah, pitchers, catchers, obviously going to be huge with Yadi there. And, having his insight's going to be huge. I'm excited to see Yadi back. And again, it's creating, and I hate to keep using this word because Sonny Gray said it a bazillion times in his introductory press conference, but culture-wise, man, you're bringing back guys that have been winners in this organization before, and there was a lot of losing last year, and it was gross, and we felt yucky because it's weird for the Cardinals. That's not what the Cardinals do, and Yadi did not lose a lot when he was in a Cardinals uniform. Daniel Descalso did not lose a lot when he was wearing a Cardinal uniform, and that you continue to surround the guys that you got that you believe in with guys who are proven winners. And usually that kind of rubs off on the rest of the coaching staff and on the players. It's an attitude and it's a culture, and keep them coming. Keep all the winners coming in, dude. Nelson Ward, I was so hoping they would fire Marmol and hire Yadi before the season becomes a dumpster fire. I mean, we don't know it's going to be a dumpster fire yet. I think they'll be better next year. Again, bad seasons for a lot of guys. Tons of injuries. You had some bad vibes clearly going on attitude-wise with some people. We don't know the exact people that it was a problem with, but that stuff's all getting moved out. And we're moving on, and we've got new guys coming in who are proven winners. And I'm excited about that. Disco Stew, with Contreras' defense added to the pitching staff and the other silly things from last year, it will be a couple of weeks before Yadi loses his mind and starts choking people. When he's the manager, my over and under on ejections is 15 in a season. 15! Wow, that's a lot. Where did Yadi get booed the most? What do you guys say? Chicago, Cincinnati? Who else booed the hell out of Yadi? I know he had a dust-up in L.A. a few years back, but I hope he dresses for those series and gets the old heave-ho in one of those games at Wrigley or at Great American Small Park. Helger at Bone. I don't know how to say that name. Anyway, I don't see much of an improvement in our pitching staff over last year. If any, Gray replaces Monty, that's a wash. Still haven't filled the hole Hicks filled. Not a wash yet. Old and average innings eaters that give up a lot of hits and bombs replace Waino and any other of our starters. That's a wash. You have to have 2 legit starters to run deep in the playoffs. We don't have that. Trade for 1 more legit starter and fill that bullpen hole. How hard is it? Spend some cash. Splurge a bit. Get serious about a playoff run. Is another $25 million going to break the bank? If so, perhaps it's time I quit wasting my time with this cheap-ass team. I'm not excited at all with this offseason so far. Molina is the only improvement. Sad, really. I feel your pain. I really do. I feel it. Knowing that you were, and I've said this before, you were 1 or 2 arms away from being serious contenders, like World Series contenders, and to not do everything you can to go get those pieces seems stupid, right? But take a step back, take a breath real quick, and realize that we don't know what these teams are asking the Cardinals in return for guys like Dylan Cease or Tyler Glasnow yet. We don't know. We heard the rumor that the White Sox were asking for 4 top 11 prospects from the Reds for Dylan Cease. That report came out. It was their number 2 guy, Rhett Lauder, first-round pick last year. Their number 6 guy, Chase Petty, first-round pick in 2021 by the Twins, actually got traded for newest Cardinal Sonny Gray. Both of those guys are pitchers. And then it was their number 9 prospect, who's a second baseman, and their number 11 prospect, who's a shortstop. So if we match these up, and it doesn't mean that who the Cardinals have in those spots are the same level of talent as the guys that the Reds have in those spots. But if you match those up, that'd be Teen Kentz, Gordon Graceffo, Thomas Jase, and Travis Honeyman. Now, me being the guy that wants to get the taste of 2023 out of my mouth immediately, I say, yeah, pull the trigger, because I'm very impatient. I was also the guy that said, pull the trigger on a Mason Wynn trade if it meant you could get the catcher from Oakland, Sean Murphy. I was the guy that was like, yes, if that's going to be the one piece that it takes to get you to the World Series, then do it, because that's the ultimate goal. But looking at what that trade would be here, that's 2 of your top 3 arms in your organization, your AA MVP, who's just whoosh, flying up the levels, and your 3rd-rated outfielder. But that may not be what the White Sox asked for from the Cardinals. They may want Teen Kentz and Tekoa Roby, and then it could be Chase Davis or Victor Scott in Sajasi instead of Honeyman. We just don't know. And with Glasnow, we haven't really heard much at all what the Rays have been asking for yet. Nothing like that is leaked, at least that I've seen anywhere. So we're still kind of unsure, but we know a lot of people are interested in him, despite the fact that the guy gets hurt every year and is owed $25 million this year and is going to be a free agent. Just the competition for the starting pitching is unbelievable right now. It's unbelievable. And these teams who don't get Yamamoto are all going to come down and start swimming in those waters where they're like, all right, well, I guess we'll go trade for Cease, or we'll go trade for Glasnow. Like it's going to get fierce. So I just don't. The Cardinals aren't the aggressive the team usually when it comes to this stuff. So it's just really tough for me to see them pulling the trigger on a trade that's good enough to get those guys into St. Louis, unfortunately. Because you got to remember, the other team has to say yes. It's not like the Cardinals can just say, we want that guy, give him to us. The other team has to say yes. And if other teams just have better prospects and are offering more, what are you going to do? You don't want to tear apart the fabric of your offense and your future at the same time for somebody who, like especially a Glasnow, who you don't know if it's going to be around after 1 year. Does Tyler Glasnow, even when he pitches, say, 18 games this year, is that going to be enough to push you into the World Series? I don't know. And if you don't know, you don't make that deal. Stephen O'Connell says, even though I am trading O'Neill, not for nothing, he is playing for a new contract. I predict he has a good year. He needs to be packaged with Carlson and or Edman. Those players need to play every day, and saying they may have a bad attitude hurts his trade value further. Again, I'm for a blockbuster trade that helps both teams. Cardinals get Cease, and Luis Robert. White Sox get Carlson, O'Neill, Edman, Matz, Hence. If the cost is too high, I would reluctantly offer to switch any of the non-pitchers for Burleson. Well, thanks, Steven. Yeah, the White Sox don't want an injury-prone Carlson, O'Neill, and Matz as the main pieces of a deal for Dylan Cease and Luis Robert. The idea that any team in the league is valuing any of those three is kind of silly. Like Edman's got value. Tink Hens clearly has value, but the other three have little to none right now. I mean, Carlson is your fourth outfielder. Matz, although he showed some life last year, can't stay healthy. Has hardly ever been able to stay healthy. Still has 2 years left, $12 million per on his deal. He started a total of 27 games in the past 2 years and was jettisoned to the bullpen last year because he was pitching so poorly in the starting rotation at the beginning of the year. Remember? Teams aren't going to take your trash in return for their stars, period. It's just not happening. So these ideas that they can flip them for one of the most coveted arms on the block, it's fantasy. It's just fantasy. All right, we're out of time. Thanks for all your comments and tweets. Keep them coming, man. I love having these discussions. Maybe this weekend we do a full episode because I've got so many of you guys writing in, and I love it. And I love having this conversation with you guys all the time. So maybe we'll do a full episode of that over the weekend. Like a chat. How like Derek Gould and Katie Wu do the chats. Maybe we'll do something like that. I got to get ready for the Blues game. Traveling to Columbus tonight to go see the boys play. Got some friends in Columbus. We're going up. We're going to party. Going to go, hopefully, watch a Blues victory. I'm going to get my Wayne Gretzky jersey ready. It's in the wash right now. And I'm going to be doing that tonight. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please give us a follow on Twitter X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube. Help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. If something happens with Ohtani tonight while I'm at the game, let me know. Tweet me. I will be in full hockey mode tonight, so let me know what goes on, all right? I'm kind of trying to take a step away from baseball for the evening, and obviously that's when the Ohtani news will probably drop, so keep me posted. I need you guys to be my back, have my back on this one. You guys are the best fans of baseball for a reason, and I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.